put a little bit more, we'll put a slide deck together or something that gives you a little bit of history and where we've come and where we've, and whatnot, so.
So basically that ARPA where you were at of what you were gonna discuss, can you just send that out in your weekly report? And then what I would ask any board members, if you have questions or concerns after reviewing that or ideas, please either contact myself or Scott, especially admin for some of the things that they could probably answer the questions on. And then we'll have a longer group discussion on the county board night.
So I'm going to answer that question, Mr. Salzer, in the frame of how much you have left to obligate. Because the key driver is we have to obligate all of it by the end of this calendar year, but we have until the end of the calendar year 26 to spend it. So we have roughly 12 million of our 34.8 million to obligate before the end of the year. And obligate is defined as having under contract with somebody. Correct. Yes, that would come off the top of that 12 million figure, correct. So in this year's capital improvement budget, there is a list of projects that were approved that the funding source is ARPA. There's also broadband money. There's also economic development related expenditures. So there's a whole cadre of proposed expenses. You've approved from a appropriation standpoint all 34.8 million or whatever's was left over at the beginning of this year. It's just that we don't, for example, one of the proposed uses from an infrastructure perspective was remodeling of the circuit clerk's office. We don't have that under contract yet. So whatever that bid ends up being, but we in your budget, we said we would spend ARPA dollars to do that work, but we don't have a contract. We have not awarded a contract, so it's not obligated. It's appropriated but not obligated. So all but 1.2, 1.3 is now based on the action you took at your last board meeting. But from what the board originally said you were going to spend on broadband, there's between 1.2 million and 1.3 million left unobligated, and one of our recommendations will be to keep that money in the broadband bucket and do another round of RFPs so that we can push the rest of that out the door. And we would do that but by the end of the year.
And that broadband, though, when would Comcast and those other companies know from their state approval? Do you know?
I don't know right off the top of my head.
Because I think that money was contingent.
Yes. Yeah, so the broadband money you already approved is contingent upon Comcast getting a state grant. If they don't get that, then those dollars are coming back in. And Heather will be prepared to talk about and explain what options you have yet this year, if that situation happens, and what options you have based on the U.S. Treasury guidance come January 1 of next year or later. Because those rules could potentially change based on that December 31 obligation deadline.
Okay, so we're going to go down that road, send out some data, research it. If you have questions, contact admin. Then that way they can prepare the documents and get any other questions. And just be prepared for Thursday of county board, probably lasting a little longer than.
So food, I'm just saying. Putting that out there.
My request now is the recommendation
I would bring it up on that night because that would be, unless you want to start talking to other members. Yeah. Yeah. I'm past, I lost a quorum, I think. What? No, we're not, pretty close. So we're not going to do standing committee agenda, so that's just a receive and file. No, because we'll be here till 7, Coach.
You don't have a quorum anymore anyway.
So then, we'd already done public comment. Anything under miscellaneous? Meeting adjourned. Sorry, Sarah, that you had to stay. And Doug.